You've got to take a look at this. So Michael Oliver is set to take charge of Arsenal's game versus Tottenham, the North London derby, this weekend. This is going to be the first time he's refereed a game since he incorrectly sent Miles Lewis-Skelly off in the game against Wolves in January. Plus, it comes straight after the game where it has been almost universally agreed upon that the goal by Van Dijk was wrongfully disallowed and should have been overturned by Michael Oliver and VAR. This is on the back of all the sort of challenges and the conflicts of interests. And I don't know about you, KJ. I look at this and think they set themselves up for criticism, don't they, the Premier League? Out of all the refs they could have picked, it's the one who sent Rice off last season and Miles Lewis-Skelly gave the disgraceful VAR decision to not overturn Van Dijk's decision, even though it's now been proven by multiple ex-referees, an independent panel, and pretty much every ex-player and the majority of football fans that it should have stood. The kind of punishment for those mistakes is Arsenal's big game, the first match after that incident, right? When there's accusations of corruption, you're getting Arsenal-Tottenham. I mean, you couldn't write it, could you?
I don't know, man. Like they feed into this. They must know. They must understand what they're doing, you know? Like, we're just literally talking about conspiracies and corruption and stuff. Let's talk about it, because when we had a discussion, Terry, about the Premier League orchestrating the opening day to be Arsenal and Man United, and they put the pressure on for the storylines, all these different things, people are laughing and saying, the Premier League don't do that. They just use a random generated schedule. That's what it is. You guys are just being conspiracy theorists. Why is Michael Oliver having this game? Where's the logic in that? Either they're incompetent, either they did do it randomly and all the games are scheduled randomly for all the refs, or they know what's going on. They see it, and they see what's going on. They see the controversy. They see the amount of like, look at us, we're talking about it right now. You know what I mean? They see all of this and they use it to keep their eyes on the Premier League. Listen, Arsenal fans, I'm not saying it because they're trying to stop you from winning the league. I don't think they're trying to stop anyone from winning the league because they need a league winner. But what I'm saying is they just want eyes on the Premier League and they don't care who gets hurt by it. So all the poor refereeing decisions, all the poor scheduling, because hasn't Crystal Palace got like 2 games in 3 days or something because of scheduling? Like all these different things that they do, assigning refs after controversy to big games. They know what they're doing, and they're doing it to keep their eyes on their prize, which is numbers, money, viewership. And they know what they're doing with Michael Oliver on this game. They know Arsenal fans hate him. They know Spurs fans hate him. So yeah, I think they're doing this on purpose. I don't think it's a mistake. I don't think it's a mistake.
Yeah, and it's one of these things. I mean, look, this here says all top gooners are getting their excuses ready for when they get slapped up by Spurs. And I think depending upon the outcome of the game, how good Spurs are, how good Arsenal are, what happens in that moment. Sometimes I don't live in that world. I don't live in the world of it's just the ref. Liverpool, when they lost to City, I criticized so many things about Liverpool that day, but I also called out the refereeing decision because it must be. A lot of people don't like to live in the real world. A lot of people like to live in the polarized version of the football world, which is I'm only going to focus on the performance. I get Liverpool fans, for instance, in the moment going, I don't care about the refereeing decision right now. My team's in bits. That's a bigger issue to me. That makes sense. But most of those same Liverpool fans, once they calm down and they relax, were like, actually, I've got to look at this decision now. 2 things can coexist at the same time in football conversations. And I just look at this, and sometimes in life, there's this element of you just don't need to put him in charge. You don't need to put him in charge and fuel this conversation, because Spurs fans might go the other way as well and say, well, what if Oliver now overcompensates because he doesn't want to look like he's cheating and gives Arsenal a few things that are a little bit dubious and a little bit soft? And this is the problem with all of with the PGMOL. They lie to us constantly when they make mistakes. We saw it with the Van Dijk goal as an example. We saw it with the Gyökeres, so that impacted Liverpool. We saw it with the Gyökeres penalty decision. And we've shown on the Football Terrace and on my personal channel, Terry Flewers TV, go and check it out, the examples of where they've gone the other way and rejected the notion of movement can put a goalkeeper off, where they've rejected the notion that getting a very slight touch on the ball is deemed winning possession. And they go completely the opposite way and try and pull the wool over our eyes. And then they create these new precedents. We've seen that. They allow Michael Oliver to go off to the UAE. Now, I don't believe, even though City's ownership have a hand in that, I don't believe they've paid him to cheat. I don't believe it's that simplistic. But I believe that if somebody has given you lots of money in the past and there's a possibility of it in future, it is so likely you have a bias within you. And it's just normal. You know, if one of the random people in the comments section is going through some trouble in their life and they need some money, and I private message them and say, listen, you know, there's how much you need. Oh, I need a £2,000 or I'm going to lose my house. And I go, oh, there you go, mate. There's £2,000. Do you think if they're voting for a football content award and my name's on there, do you think that won't play a part in their thinking? Do you not think it will? Of course it will. And I think that if they were refereeing a game of football I was in, oh, Terry probably got to go there, but he sorted me out once. Do you think that can't be either consciously or subconsciously in your mind? Absolutely. Which is why the Premier League should never have allowed it to have happened. Because you've got to remove that thought process. It's why an independent body needs to review the performance reviews of the referees. What are the internal practices? Is there a way of rotating referees more around Europe so that these biases don't creep in? We know biases exist because all the ex-referees talk about it. We know they do. They've spoke about it on the podcast they go on. I just look at this and think I'm not saying Arsenal will lose. I think Arsenal will win this game. I think Arsenal are going to win this game comfortably, 3-0. I think Arsenal are going to win comfortably. But they put this in, as you say, it's like a side dish. It's like a starter. It's like something extra being added to the occasion to create a conversation. And they don't need to do it. They don't need to do it. It's a mad one for me. It's a real mad one. This here says most English refs are crap. This is true. Michael Oliver literally dampened the excitement of games for nearly all fans of all teams. I hear that. I hear why you would say that. Terry, I want a new Lambo. Please help. Obviously, it was very much that. But
someone said I'm broke. I'm broke, Terry.
You know my point here. Terry, just if you know how many controversial decisions Oliver has given against Spurs, stop with this Arsenal bias without... hang on, but did I not just say that it could go the other way as well?
Yeah, no one's saying this because he's going to screw up Arsenal. We're saying it because he's going to screw up the game in general. And that's the main point with this whole conversation with the referees, especially. It's not... I personally, and I think Terry as well, it's no longer about it harming one particular team. It's the fact that it's harming all of us. Everyone gets screwed over by these referees. Everyone gets screwed over by the Premier League and the way they schedule things, the way they assign refs and all these things, the way they introduce VAR and how they operate it. Everyone gets screwed over about it. So all of us need to look at it and be like, listen, this is not right. It's not right.
No, you're absolutely spot on. It ain't right. I mean, I'm just talking also about the narrative, the feeling people have with everything that happened in that last game. Even with Arsenal, of course, he's got to referee Arsenal games again. But why one of the biggest Arsenal's games? Why one of their biggest games on the calendar? Why that? Bring him in slowly. It doesn't need to be a game where the emotions are going to be high, the tension's going to be high. They're playing on the Sunday, not last. United are last on the Monday, but City and Liverpool have already played. And it isn't about you guys. And as I've already said, Terry O'Shea to Terry Flewers, as I've already said, he could overcompensate the other way. And we might see that, and I'll call it out because I call out decisions that go in Arsenal favour as well. The handball, Odegaard, Liverpool, as a prime example. Said it should have been a penalty. Sorry, I said that it should. Yes, I said it should have been a penalty. So, Man United's offside against Arsenal. I still believe that was onside. I think they got it wrong. I think they messed the lines up. So I have called them out as well as an example. I literally said it, but because your brain went into this, it's called cognitive dissonance. You went, oh, he's defending Arsenal. You stopped listening. your ears shut off and you started typing. And if you'd just stayed relaxed and listened, it would have been covered. I just think this is the mistake by the Premier League. So recently where I live, about 30 minutes away, I woke up and I don't really use Facebook, but I've got a party happening soon. So I've sent out some invites. And I was on Facebook and a local thing popped up that the sheep were mauled by a dog overnight. And I know it's a dog because lambs might get attacked by a badger. Potentially they might get attacked by a fox, but these are big sheep. It's going to be like a domestic dog. You know, we don't have wild animals in England. Just for everyone, we don't have bears or coyotes or anything like that. And there's like 4 or 5 that got mauled overnight. And the post was up about it. And the person whose dog did it kind of handed himself in, and it's a criminal offense, handed himself in. And the dog's not going to be put down because actually the owner's getting more trouble because certain dogs have what they call prey drive that's very hard for them to control. But essentially the guy kind of left a comment, and I luckily released a local statement, right? And he was sort of like, my dog's never done it before. I thought it'd be okay. He's shown a few signs that he wants to start chasing things, but I thought it'd be okay, and I let him off the lead anyway, and he did it. And that's how I feel about this. It might be okay, but with everything in the backdrop, with the potential risk and the fallout, just don't do it. Don't let Micheal Oliver off of his lead because he might run into the hen house. He might chase those sheep. You know what I mean? So yeah, just don't do it. Stay away from it. You don't need the controversy. Just let the football speak for me. But yeah, a lot of Arsenal fans are gearing this up. They think they might be robbed this weekend.
Yeah, they think they're going to be robbed every weekend. Like, that's the one thing I'll say about Arsenal fans. Every ref's got it out for them. Like, I do not believe in the conspiracy of referees and the Premier League and the FA and the PGMOL are trying to screw Arsenal specifically. They will be screwed because everyone's like, all the refs are just frustrating. Spurs will be screwed in some way, you know, next week as well. So yeah, like Arsenal fans, it's one of those ones. Stop crying. If you cry wolf every week, everyone's gonna stop believing you. You know what I mean?
Well, I agree with this here. It says, Terry, why would the refs help us out when the Prem wants us out of the league? Confused. Great point. And this is my answer to it, and I hope this makes sense. I don't believe in any direction to stop Arsenal winning, to hurt City, to kill Man United, to stop Spurs. I don't believe there is a PGMOL-wide conspiracy where they all get together and they make a decision on who they're going to hurt. What I believe can happen is individuals can develop favoritism towards one team or club and a bias towards another. Why do I believe this? One, if you're being paid by people connected to a certain club, absorbent amounts of money to referee one-off games, do appearances, etc., that can play a part. Shouldn't be allowed because it's human nature not to purposely cheat, just to look favorably towards something that pays you and helps you. The other side of it is I've heard Graham Poll, Mike Dean, Gallagher, and multiple ex-referees talk about biases they held against certain managers, David Coote, Klopp, players. Poll spoke about this with Roy Keane and the like. But they've even spoken, and Graham Poll spoke on this, and I think Howard Webb confirmed it too. They hold biases against crowds. Maybe a crowd that gave them a lot of stick, sung a horrible song. Maybe they get confronted by a group outside a ground. They've said they've held it against them in the next game. So this is where, for me, I've said it before, I think Arsenal fans, Spurs fans, Liverpool fans should stop pushing this huge sort of Illuminati level conspiracy theory against their club because it falls upon deaf ears. People go tinfoil hat, lizard people, calm down, Mr. Da Vinci Code, right? I think what this is more about is a combination of incompetence and individual biases that ruin situations. And I think it's far more likely that a referee or two might have a betting issue than they do a PGMOL-wide conspiracy. That, for me, is where people get lost in this conversation, is they go down the Illuminati route. Right? Yeah. And that, for me, is the crazy element, because I don't think it's that deep. But I think there are ways where
it sounds like a self-fulfilling prophecy, because if the refs are biased towards crowds that give them stick, then Arsenal fans naturally always give refs stick. So then that might lead them to give them more bad decisions, which then leads them to get in more stick. And it's just like a self-fulfilling prophecy in a cycle where does it end? So either the refs got to do their job properly, which we don't trust them that they will, or maybe Arsenal fans just need to just ease up a little bit and see if that changes. I don't know. I don't think it will, but hey, like
that's also part of it, which is why I think you should be calling out. It's what I've said for ages. My energy towards this is to call out the incompetence and the failings and the lies they tell us, as opposed to necessarily pointing fingers and saying you must be betting, or trying to stay away from the pejoratives that people call individuals, because as you say, it becomes a little bit of a self-fulfilling prophecy in that way.